Hey guys, in this video I'm going to teach you guys about Model Context Protocol or MCP. If you follow AI or machine learning at all, you probably have heard a lot about it. There's a lot of hype about it, along with people who say that it's pointless or don't understand how it works. So I'm going to teach you guys about it so that it's very clear and you understand the problem that it solves. I will also show you guys how to use MCP servers with applications like cursors so that you can give them extra capability because it can be a little tricky for your first time setting it up. Let's start at the basics first. So when you're talking to a large language model like GPT from OpenAI, you can send it a message, right, and you get a response back. A lot of language models also have a really cool feature called tool calling, where you can give the model a list of functions that it can choose to call. So, for example, you can give it access to a check time function that returns the current system time, because the model obviously doesn't know the time on your computer or whatever system it's running on. You can give it a generate report tool, for example, if you want something like that. Or you can give it a parse code tool, which could be useful because language models are often used to generate code, but it has no idea if it's actually correct or not. So running it through a parser or a compiler of some sort may be a cool feature you can give it. So if you're using the model with a Python client, for example, you're giving access to Python functions. So more specifically, the way it works is when you're having a conversation with the large language model, depending on the context of the conversation, it may decide that it needs to call a tool. So, for example, if it needs to check the time or if it needs to parse some code, it will do a tool call response back to you. You'll see that, you'll check to see what tool it's calling, you'll run the Python function, and then you'll return the response back to the model for it to consume. So, that is tool calling for local Python functions for whatever application is working with the model. But it'd be really cool if you could connect the model to outside sources or systems like maybe a Google Drive to access files in your drive like slides or code or something like that, documents. Or maybe you want to connect it to the file system of your computer because by default the model has no way of accessing files on your computer. Or maybe you want to connect it to GitHub so it can access your repositories, it can look at pull requests, it can create them, it can change things, do whatever, right? So with tool calling you can do that. All you got to do is make some function that connects to Google Drive or gets a file from Google Drive, or for GitHub, pulls your repository, stuff like that. You'd have to make a set of functions for each of those things and manage the connection and all that kind of stuff. It can get pretty complex. So realistically, it would look something like this. So you would have an application that's using the model on the left, and then whatever tools that the application is allowing the model to call would be connecting to an API for Google Drive or a library for the file system of your computer, or an API for GitHub, right? There's different clients and APIs. They're all different. So each system has its own API or library that the app has to learn to connect to. And that can be a little complex to manage, right? Everything is different. So there's not a unified way to connect to those different systems that the application can utilize. This is the main idea for why MCP or Model Context Protocol is useful. If we can create some unified way for this application here to connect to outside sources in some way without having to worry about connecting to each API individually, we can improve the quality of our applications and make it more consistent and clean. MCP gives us this standard protocol. So now the application here, this is a high level diagram, will be using MCP to integrate with these various services, and it doesn't have to worry about itself how to connect to these various services, like connecting to the file system library or the API from Google Drive. Since they're all different, now there is a unified way, a standard way to connect to these outside sources, which is great. It solves a problem. So it's really important to emphasize this. Before, the app had to connect to different outside sources using the libraries and APIs that they provide, and it can get quite complex. There's no unified way to do it. With MCP, we have a standard way, a unified way to connect to those outside sources so that the application doesn't have to worry about it. That is the main idea. If you understand that, you understand MCP. So getting more specific, this is how it works on a lower level because, right here is just kind of a black box, a magical MCP black box that the app connects to. Realistically, there's a lot more going on under the hood. So the way it works is every external service that you're trying to connect to is going to have its own MCP server. The responsibility of the MCP server is to worry about interfacing with that API or library that this external system provides. It's going to figure out how to connect to it, how to utilize it, and everything like that. And then it's going to expose different routes or endpoints that a MCP client can utilize. So again, the MCP server is what abstracts the complexity of connecting to the API or library for whatever system. And the MCP client is the thing that lives inside of the application that's using the model that connects to the MCP server. So for example, if you have a Python application that is utilizing GPT-4o and you want to give it access via tools to the file system of your computer, what you would do is either create a MCP server for it, or there's a bunch out there that's already created by other people. You start it up, and then you create a client within your Python application that connects to it. So instead of the Python application that uses the model having to worry about directly connecting to the library, what now happens is that the app is going to use an MCP client that connects to the MCP server. It tells it what tools are available, such as reading files or printing the files in a directory, and the client will allow you to call those tools in the Python application. So we can give the model tool access to the tools exposed by the MCP server. And everything is facilitated using the MCP protocol. That's the way that it's talking to one another. So I really hope this is making sense. I think it's worth emphasizing the benefit that's being gained here. Instead of the application that uses the model having to worry about connecting to each of these APIs and libraries separately, now all it has to do is spin up a MCP client, connect to an MCP server, and the server handles all that complexity of connecting to it. Now I see this a lot on Twitter where people say, "Well, isn't this just another API?" Well, yes, obviously it's an interface that, abstracts the complexity, but the benefit here is that it's a single API MCP that abstracts the complexity of connecting to whatever you're trying to connect to. So the MCP server is its own API that wraps, whatever API or library that you're connecting to. But that's something that you only have to create once, and then you can connect to in any application with an MCP client. And the great thing about MCP is that there's a huge community of people who have already created a bunch of MCP servers for you to utilize, which I'll be showing you in a second. So there's a bunch of servers already for things like Google Drive, GitHub, and file system. So if you want to give your large language model the capability of calling tools from these systems, it's really easy using MCP. That's why you would want to use MCP, because then you don't have to write your own tools to connect to these various services yourself. You can just utilize pre-made MCP servers that handle that for you. Here's a great illustration of an analogy of why MCP is helpful. People often say that MCP is analogous to how USB-C creates a standard interface for connecting to computers, and that kind of makes sense because most computers now that are created usually just have a USB-C port, right, that you can plug stuff into, like your peripherals. What if every company that made a peripheral, such as a headset or a mouse, had its own connector that plugs into a machine? That would make no sense, right? There needs to be a standard way of connecting to a device. And so some organization came up with the idea of USB-C that became a standard, and then now anyone who creates things that want to go into computers uses USB-C as a connector. So in this analogy here, you have the thing that you're trying to connect to, which is the laptop, and then you have these different things that you're trying to connect into the laptop. These are the MCP servers. They all have their different ways of doing it. And now this little dock here represents MCP. It handles the complexity of connecting to everything and then just connects into your computer so that your computer just has everything. It has access to whatever has been connected to the computer. So I really hope all of that made sense. Please let me know in the comment section below if any of that was confusing. I want to make sure you guys understand it and understand the benefits of MCP. My final summarization is that MCP, Model Context Protocol, is useful so that applications that use models has a standard way of connecting to outside external sources so that the application doesn't have to worry about connecting to each one individually. Besides access to tools from these outside sources, MCP also provides two other things. One of them is prompts. It can store and provide prompts to different models. The server can also provide resources to the models, such as files and stuff like that, so that the model has access to context that it can use to achieve whatever it's trying to do. So not only does it create a standard way to connect to outside sources via tools, it also gives access to the data from those sources potentially as well, which is cool. All right, so now that we understand what MCP is, I want to show you guys how to find MCP servers, how to use them, connect to them on your computer using Cursor. Cursor is just one application that is compatible with MCP servers. You also have GitHub Copilot. You have Claude, that's a very popular one. Claude, they actually created MCP, Anthropic. You can use whatever you want though. Me showing you how to do it in Cursor should apply to whatever you're working with. It should be pretty much the exact same thing. So let's figure out how to actually use MCP servers now. So first of all, how do we actually get MCP servers that other people have made? Here's one resource on GitHub created by the same people who created MCP itself. It's a servers repository and it has a list of all the different, not all of them, but a bunch of major MCP servers that you can utilize. There's a huge list. So some of the basic ones is fetch. So being able to fetch web content and make it available for a large language model to use. File system. So working with the file system, like I said before, with the example I gave. Git, memory, giving your thing memory, time. Here's some third-party servers with official integrations. So you have one for AWS, Azure Web Services, Azure, Box. What else? Literally anything you can imagine. I'm sure there's one for GitHub in here somewhere. Grafana, GitHub, there we go, GitHub. Git Guardian, Fireproof, Firebase, Firecrawl. So this is one great resource to find some servers that you can utilize. Another good resource that I found is mcp.so. This has a more extensive list of MCPs made by all kinds of people that you can utilize. So we have ones from today, we could do a featured list. So you have time, like we saw before. So we're just going to click the time one here. Click that. This will give us information on what it does. We can view content to get a description of how it works, how to install it, everything like that, which is nice. You can see the actual tools. So, like I told you before, MCP is great for exposing tools from various external sources. And so you can see if you go to the tools tab, the different tools that it exposes. So this particular time MCP server provides two different tools that the LLM can call. One of them is get current time, so get the current time in a specific time zone, as well as convert time to convert time between time zones. So if you're looking to try an MCP server for the first time, this is a great one to start with. So right here, this is what we need, the server config. This is what you're going to provide to whatever application supports MCP. So in this case, I told you we're going to be using Cursor. Cursor has a MCP config file, so you're going to take this and put it into Cursor. So just copy it. Let's copy this here, or you can copy the whole thing. You'll see what I mean in a second. So on Cursor, go to Settings, and then go to Tools and Integrations. And then here you want to click Add Custom MCP. And it's going to open up this JSON file for you where you can basically add any MCP that you want the Cursor IDE to be able to utilize. So inside of here, you simply paste the configuration that we took from mcp.so. Pretty much any application that supports MCP will have something that looks exactly like this. So let's break down how it works. So when it comes to actually installing and using the server, it's usually done, if it's with Python, using UV, which is a package manager, or with pip. If your MCP server requires UV or recommends UV, then just make sure that you have UV installed on your computer for you to be able to run it. If it tells you to run the MCP server using npx, you just need to install Node.js. So if you go to the UV installation docs, you go to installation, and then it tells you how to install it on your computer. It's pretty simple. So do that, and then you should be able to run the server, no problem. So now that you have either UV or npx installed on your computer, you can run MCP servers that support those languages. So coming up here to the server config, this is what you provide to Cursor or whatever you're using to tell it how to run or start the MCP server. You can run it yourself in a terminal if you want to, but the point is that you're providing it to Cursor so that it does that and then connects to it using an MCP client. Usually you don't run it yourself. But if you want to see how this actually works to run it, this is providing the exact command. So we just do uvx space MCP server time, and then we have this optional argument here to tell it what time zone we're in. So local time zone America slash, and mine Chicago, so I'm gonna put Chicago. Press enter, and what that is doing is it basically downloaded this MCP server time package automatically and started running it. So it doesn't look like anything happened, but it is running the MCP server for us. So we can do Control C to cancel that. So coming back to Cursor, this is what that is for. We're telling it that we have a new MCP server, its name is time, and you can run it by doing UVX MCP server time. That's literally it, okay? So once you have that configured inside of here, you Control S save it if it's not saved automatically. Go back to Settings, Tools and Integrations, and you can see already that the MCP server is running and has detected it. And if we click this here, we can see the tools that are available from the server. That's really cool, right? And it even gives you a little description of what the tool does. So this is what the large language model should see as well, because then it knows how to call the tool and what it's for. Okay, so that is how you can add a MCP server to Cursor using the configuration here. How do you actually use it now? So let's just open up a Cursor chat here, and now that the MCP server is available to Cursor for the model that Cursor is using, basically it has those tools if it wants to call them. So let's ask it a question where it would need to call the tool to be able to answer the question effectively. So I'm simply going to say, what time is it? Now, the model itself, just by itself, without MCP servers, has no idea what time it is on my computer unless it's being provided to it by Cursor. I know that it does not know, so I'm going to ask it now, since it has the server, and watch what happens. Look, it just called the tool for my MCP server. The current time is 6:15 on Saturday, blah, blah, blah. Nice. So you can see here how it called the MCP server tool, provided the argument here, and then this is the response from the MCP server. So if you want to really test it, disable the MCP server and ask again in a new chat, what time is it? And watch. It doesn't have access to the current time. Let's do one more example of adding an MCP server to Cursor. So we're going to go here to the servers GitHub that I told you about, and we're going to go to Git. So this is a MCP server for Git repository interaction and automation. So this server provides tools to read, search, and manipulate Git repositories via LLMs. Cool. So let's go down here. It should tell us how to install it or work with it. So the installation is that recommends UV. So install UV if you don't already have it. If you don't have it or you don't want to install it, you can still use pip if you already have Python, but using UV it's faster and easier. So it gives us some examples here. If we scroll down, let's copy this right here and let's go to cursor. We're going to come here and add a new object for our get MCP called get, and then has the command of UVX and the args, which is just MCP server get. That's all we need. The formatting's a little messed up, but that should be fine. So let's save that, go back to here, and boom, it's already added. So it already installed it really fast. We can see all the tools that are available now. So it has all these tools here. So let's just ask it a question that should make it use one of these tools. Let's say, tell me what branch I'm on. Let's try that. Nice, I called get status. There we go. It seems to be working, as you can see, which is great. So that is how you can utilize MCP servers from the internet. It's pretty simple once you understand the configuration part. I think that's the most confusing part, at least for me initially, was what the hell am I looking at here? It's literally you just telling whatever application you're working with how to run the MCP server. So UVX is just a command that automatically downloads and runs a Python package, and the package happens to be MCP server get in this case. So I really hope this video was informative for you guys. Now you should be able to use MCP servers in your applications, whatever you like to use, whether it's Cursor, Claude, Klein, whatever you want. But also, more importantly, I really hope you guys understand what MCP or Model Context Protocol is all about. Hopefully you guys like this video. So leave a like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, and peace.